Hey YouTube fam, it's Daughter of the Most High. I finished my fast on Saturday, my 40-day fast, and I want to share with you some of the things that the Lord brought to me, okay? So the first one is a strange dream, somewhat strange. So I'm going to share that with you. So I have two older sisters, and this dream was about my oldest sister. She's 5 years older than me, and she's had a disability her whole life due to mental health issues. And now she's also got a physical disability due to the inability to bear weight on her legs. So she just can't stand for very long. She can transfer from a chair to her wheelchair. So that's her life at this stage. Okay, back to the dream. So in the dream, she injured her foot in 2 places, and she's telling me about it. And I think to myself in the dream, I'm going to cut her foot off. Her foot's too far gone with these 2 injuries and like 2 breaks or something and in her foot. And so I cut her foot off. So the dream did not show me cutting her foot off. It went from her sitting in the wheelchair telling me she injured her foot. And I'm thinking, I'm going to cut her foot off then, thinking that was the right thing to do. And then the dream went to her leg being like the foot cut off in a stump at her ankle. So, and then I was going to take her to the doctor. So I remember thinking in the dream, the doctor's probably going to be mad at me for cutting her foot off. He's going to think I shouldn't have done that. And I was still thinking, I was kind of wavering, like, should I have done that? Should I not have? And then the dream ended. And so when I woke up from that dream, I was like, okay, God, that was weird. What a weird dream. And so why it was that sister, I don't know, but it was. And me cutting off her foot is actually kind of how I think. I have catastrophic thinking from my childhood. I do. And somewhat from my marriage. And so I tend to go from A to Z very quickly when there's a problem. And I always think the worst. And I don't always react the worst, but I always think the worst. And I know that about myself. And so I've learned to recognize the fact that I have catastrophic thinking, and then I always wait for myself to calm down and kind of dial it back or dial it in. And so that's just learning how to live with something that still occurs in my brain and in my thinking all these years after my childhood and, quite a few years after my marriage. So I thought, okay, Lord, there's nothing going on in my life. I'm at the best stage of my life right now. What does this mean? All the very difficult things happened before. Is something bad going to happen and my mind's going to go from A to Z? Is that what you're warning me? That I don't need to cut the foot off? That I can actually work with the foot and maybe heal the foot? But that's me. Cut the foot off then. It's injured, cut it off. Like extremes. So I don't know if that's the case. I've been thinking it is. There's really nothing else going on in my life. So there's that. And I'm still praying about it. God, what does that mean? And it does, to be honest with you, it does scare me. Because it makes me think something bad's going to happen. And I'm going to overreact in my mind. I don't overreact outwardly as much anymore. But I do have that thinking. And then I know how to manage it. So I'm just like, okay, Lord, is something bad going to happen? Yeah, so I am a little bit concerned about that. So there was that dream, okay? And then the Lord brought to me, just in my waking state, which I've had before, but in my waking state, God brought to me Galatians 2:20. and that is, I have been crucified with Christ. It is no longer I who live, but Christ who lives in me. And the life that I now live in the flesh, I live by faith in the Son of God, who loved me and gave himself for me. So I don't have that completely memorized yet. I think we all know part of that, but I do have it up on my screen in Bible Gateway. So I have been crucified with Christ. It is no longer I who live, but Christ who lives in me. And the life which I now live in the flesh, I live by faith in the Son of God who loved me and gave himself for me. Isn't that like, that is such an amazing verse. So God gave me that. So I woke up with that. And back when my son was an infant, and he's 26 now, soon to be 27, I was laying down with him, taking a nap with him. He was a nonstop kid, and raising him was extremely difficult. So a lot of times when he napped, I did too, and I didn't want to nap. I wanted to get things done around the house. But a lot of times I would lay down with him and fall asleep right with him. I mean, not even dozing to sleep. I mean, out like a light, because I was just always tired. So he and I were napping one time, and I woke up with Ephesians 2:20 booming, 3:20 booming like a gong in my body. So this is not often, but the Lord will work with me in this way. So Galatians 3:20 is God is able to do exceedingly abundantly above and beyond all that you've ever asked or dreamed, or something close to that. God is able to do exceedingly abundantly, and that was just going over and over and over in me. So, and now this time it was Galatians 2:20. That time it was Ephesians 3:20. Isn't that funny? But yeah, and it was like 26 years ago. My son's almost having his birthday again. There was that. Then I had a tough conversation with my son, not on my side, on his side. And I didn't expect the conversation to go the way it did, but it did. And I was debating how to handle that, and I let it go. I mean, I have grown in so many ways. Things I used to, I wasn't able to let go of, I can let go of now, and kind of process and decide how to do it, which is so glorious. It makes me wish I was 30 again. And so I felt the Lord impress upon me, pray, pray, pray. And our conversation did hurt my feelings. He wasn't like, it was just, without going way into it, because it's my son, I don't want to share that. He wouldn't appreciate that, the specifics. But it wasn't great, and I felt the Lord just say to me, pray, pray. Sorry guys, I can't pause on this phone. My nose, I just had that huge tickle going on. So, and I just felt the Lord speak to me, pray, 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 and I did. And so I just prayed and prayed, Lord, I don't know what that was. I don't want, my son to think like that. I don't want, prayed about it. The next night, because he and I are the night owls, and the next night he came in, and because Sunny's my little girl, I have one of those stools up beside my bed because she can't jump on the bed, and I don't want to have to lift her up on it. So he just went and sat on that stool while I was right here on the computer, and he sat here, and he didn't talk about the subject at all, but he just sat and talked to me. And it was so, I thought, you never do this. I mean, he is not a talker. I am. He's not. My kids are both very different than me in that way. They're just not very verbal, expressive. They get that from their dad, and they haven't been around their dad enough to know that, how he is. So it's a genetic thing for him in the DNA. And they're both just not non-verbal, but, very quiet to themselves, reserved people. Then there's me, so I'm very expressive and very verbal. It's not hard for me to find my words. It's not hard for me to share my heart. And both are difficult for my kids. Not finding their words so much, but sharing the heart. Anyway, so there was that. And I really, really appreciated that. I did. That was really special. And it's like the Lord so directed me because I was on the fast. I mean, I felt like I had more of the Lord, His presence in my life. I love that. Okay, the next thing is I shared a little bit about what was happening with my mom and her husband, and they weren't getting the care, and they were signing off on the cares, and they're elderly, and so my sister and I ended up moving them. We moved them last weekend. So I went to my mom's house every night for an hour and a half, 2 hours, sat with them, gave them a snack, the whole thing, shower, shave, whatever they needed, and got them into bed. So spending time with them and then doing their cares for 3 weeks straight. And then now they're in the new place, and then my sister and I helped transition. Well, here's my point. So it's been very busy, but this is my sister that I had a falling out with 20 years ago. And I have tried with her since the falling out to try to mend it. She won't have it, won't do it. She's stuck. And yes, she's a Christian, but she does not want to address anything, process anything. And so she's the one that alienated me from the whole family, which it sounds like, how could she do that? She did it, and everybody just followed her way. She told them a distorted view. I don't think on purpose. I think that's how it was in her mind. But she did share a distorted version of our falling out, or this wouldn't have happened. So she's been willing to speak to me as long as it's pretty much just about my mom and Lee. But that, we text every day. That is a first in 20 years. And I did say, brought up a little, can we fix this? And she shut it down on a dime. So she'll talk to me, text me about them, certain things about that. But then when I move to a more personal and important part of an exchange, she shut it down immediately. I mean, immediately. We're not doing this. And it's why after 20 years can you not do it? But I didn't say that because I don't get to share my heart. I don't get to share my thoughts. So anyway, it's still progress though. Then I was talking to a friend of mine, and we had a lengthy conversation about forgiveness because she's the queen of forgiveness. She is not a believer, and I still go to her to understand and grasp her mind regarding forgiveness. And I could go way into that, and maybe I will in another video. But I was sharing with her about my sister, and I said, how do you see this? And I was sharing the details of it. And she had shared so many times in the conversation that she felt like the Lord had shown her. She uses God. She says God, not the Lord like I do. But she said, I felt like God was telling me that if I didn't forgive him, this is her ex, and he did so many rotten things, can I just say? And she said, I felt like God showed me that if I don't find a way to get along with him, that this is really going to hurt our kids. Well, I have that same issue with my ex-covenant spouse. And she shared a few different things, and she would say, I felt like God, and she doesn't talk like that. I was seeing another side of her. She knows I'm a Christian. She knows everything, about me. We've been friends for half our lives. I share about God pretty freely with her. She's somebody that's really easy to talk to. And very open, even though she doesn't embrace it herself. And so that was, I kept going with the phone, what? To myself, And I thought, this is so good. So there was that, seeing that side of her. And then the other thing, I'm just looking at my notes over here. The other thing was, I had a dream last night. Now, this is weird. This is another weird dream, but I'm done with my fast, but I did have the dream. And again, it was right this morning because if I dream, I don't recall them. The only dreams I ever remember are my God dreams. So in this dream, and this was very short, but this is what happened. So somehow in this situation, in my dream, my ex and his new wife of, I don't even know how long it's been, 13 years or something like that. And they were over here. I don't know what the situation was. I don't know what we were at. We are never in the same room. My ex hates me. He slanders me to everybody that has ears. And so, but somehow in this dream, they were in the room. And I wasn't looking at them. I just knew they were there. And I was like walking. They were like here to the right. You can't see my hand. I'm got my arm up, but. And they were like over here somewhere. And I'm walking this way. And I see, like, in the spirit realm, you know, the Illuminati all-seeing eye was over here to the left. And so I'm walking. I know they're over there. Nothing's a big deal in the dream. I mean, that's unusual, but it wasn't a big deal in the dream. And I'm walking this way, and there's an eye. And I'm like, why is there an eye right there? And it reminded me of the Illuminati all-seeing eye. And then I woke up. And so I prayed about that today. And I was like, God, what was that? What does that mean? I know they're an adulterous union. I know that. I mean, of course. Why the all-seeing eye? It shocked me. So I looked at the eye, and you know how you like startle, and then you look again, like, did I just see that? That's exactly what I did in the dream. So that was unusual. So I got to wrap up here because I know I'm going to get cut off. If I get cut off, I'm not remaking this, but I'm going to wrap up because I'm at 17 minutes. My point to you is, even my fast, which is kind of on the wimpy side, it is, but it is a fast. And look at the ways that the Lord has spoken to me in 40 days. I mean, it has been such a blessing. So after Thanksgiving, because I'm having pumpkin pie, I am. After Thanksgiving, well, I like Christmas cookies too, so I might do like 20 days. And then I want to do a full 40 again after Christmas. Full 40, and I'll probably just do a mini before then. I'm just encouraging you to fast for your people. I would days. I tried almost every day. Lord, and lifting up my people, and then he would bring other people to me. Lord, you know, draw them into your kingdom. Draw them into your glorious light. Draw them onto the narrow path if it's a Christian. All kinds of stuff. I would pray that. He would bring people to me. I'm not kidding you guys. It was so good. And I'm encouraging you to do a fast in some way. And if you can't do a full fast like I can't, do a partial. Fast words. Fast social media. Fast junk food. Fast all of it. You know, if you did social media, and some people are like big time talkers. Like, I'm a talker, but I don't. John, I know you're going to think I'm a big time talker. I know you are. Remember that when I used to talk too much? But I really don't. I'm pretty quiet in my everyday life. And John used to tell me that I talk too much when I first met him. So, but you can fast words, listen more, talk less. You can fast social media. That's an excellent one to fast. And of course, junk food. Do all of them. So, and the Lord will speak to you. The Lord will speak to you like he did me. So, think of, I'm still processing these, like me cutting off my sister's foot. You know how weird that is? But I know what the message is. She's got a couple breaks in her foot, so you cut her foot off. And I'm like, Lord, how do I apply that? It's a weird dream, but I get the application. But where do I apply that? Where am I doing that? My life is so good and easy right now. Where do I apply that? So I'm still trusting God for that one. And then the one with my ex and his wife. I mean, she's not a wife. You know how it's not really a wife. It's not really a marriage. It's an adulterous union. But sometimes we get so used to the language of our culture that, you know, So she's not a wife, but she is, whatever. So, and the all-seeing eye, which is so weird. So I've just, God, what was that? What does that mean? So that's where I'm at, guys. I wanted to share all that with you. I know I'm going to get cut off. I'm at 20 minutes. I know this is lengthy. It was so good. Please consider fasting. Maybe not during the holidays, but fast something and let me know how it goes for you when you do it, okay? God is so good. I feel blessed. I do. I feel blessed. I feel refreshed. I had a really busy month. That was hard. But things are starting to chill out now, and I'm really glad for that. And then I want to start fasting again. Why? Because I want to hear from Him. I want to hear from Him. Less of me, more of Him. Less of me, more of Him. All right, let's close with this. Galatians 2:20. I have been crucified with Christ. It is no longer I who live, but Christ who lives in me. And the life I now live in the flesh, I live by faith in the Son of God, who loved me, loves me, loved me, and gave Himself for me. Yay! Okay, and I've got on my Christian sweatshirt, created for a purpose, or no, created with a purpose. It's for my daughter. So I'm going to let you go, and I will see you soon, fam. Take care. Happy Thanksgiving.